Every one of us will face enemies in life, enemies of progress, enemies of vision, enemies of destiny. But the greatest strategy to defeat an enemy is not to fight them, it is to outgrow them. The problem is, we spend too much time reacting to enemies instead of rising above them. Listen carefully. You do not destroy an enemy by engaging them. You destroy an enemy by making them irrelevant. A lion does not turn to bark back at a dog. Why? Because the lion knows its power. The moment you start fighting, you come down to their level. But when you rise above, your very success will become your revenge. The Bible never says, go and fight your enemies. It says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. It says, he prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. God's strategy is not for you to waste your energy on battles that do not matter. Instead, he calls you to focus on growth, wisdom, and purpose. Because when you do, your enemies will have no choice but to watch you rise. Every person in life will face opposition. It may come in the form of people who try to discredit you, circumstances that challenge you, or obstacles that seem designed to stop your progress. But listen carefully. Your enemies are not destroyed by confrontation. They are destroyed by your elevation. You do not overcome by fighting them. You overcome by outgrowing them. The greatest revenge is not retaliation. It is transformation. The problem with most people is that they waste too much time engaging their enemies. They argue, they defend, they react. And what happens? They become distracted. They start fighting battles that do not contribute to their destiny. But hear me today. When you respond to every attack, you give your enemies power over your time, your emotions, and your energy. You cannot move forward while constantly looking backward. You cannot build your future while wrestling with people who are stuck in their past. When you grow beyond the problem no longer exists at your level. Think about a child playing in the sand, building castles and digging holes. That child might see another child come and destroy what they built. Now, if that child is also small-minded, they will cry, fight, and seek revenge. But what happens when that child matures? They stop playing in the sand. They realize they have the ability to build greater things elsewhere. The moment you decide to grow, the things that used to disturb you no longer have power over you. Many of you are praying for God to remove your enemies. But God does not always remove enemies. Sometimes he promotes you above them. He prepares a table before you in their presence. He does not take away the opposition. He makes the opposition witness your success. Because the best way to handle those who try to bring you down is to go so high that they can no longer reach you. Listen to me. You do not need to fight for respect. You need to become someone they cannot ignore. When you grow in wisdom, knowledge, and excellence, even those who despise you will have to acknowledge your influence. This is why Jesus never spent his time debating with his critics. He simply fulfilled his assignment. And today, we do not remember the names of his enemies, but we remember his name, because he did not waste his time responding to those who tried to stop him. Some of you have been wondering why people rise against you when you are trying to do something great. But opposition is proof that you are making progress. No one attacks what is not a threat. No one fights what is not valuable. If you have enemies, it means you are carrying something worth noticing. The question is, will you allow them to distract you, or will you allow them to push you higher? You must understand that the most powerful thing you can do is become better, wiser, and stronger. If people lie about you, live in such a way that the truth exposes them. If they try to hold you back, grow beyond their reach. If they hope for your downfall, rise so high that they are left wondering how you made it. This is why the greatest strategy against any enemy is not confrontation, it is personal transformation. A seed does not argue with the soil, it simply grows. And as it grows, everything that was once beneath it becomes its foundation. Do not fight to prove yourself. Let your results speak for you. Your success will silence every critic. Your excellence will close the mouths of those who doubt you. And your growth will make your enemies irrelevant. So today, I challenge you. Stop fighting. Stop arguing. Stop trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Just grow. Just rise and let your success speak where words cannot. One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing their enemies to dictate their actions. When someone attacks, they feel the need to respond. When someone insults, they feel the urge to defend themselves. When someone disrespects them, they feel the pressure to prove their worth. But hear me today. The moment you react, you lower yourself to their level. You shift your focus from purpose to petty battles. You stop running your race and start fighting unnecessary wars. And in the process, you lose time, energy, and direction. Not every battle is worth your attention. Some conflicts are designed to be distractions. Some arguments are meant to pull you away from your assignment. That is why wisdom teaches that not everything demands a response. You do not have to attend every fight you are invited to. You do not have to defend yourself against every false accusation. You do not have to prove yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. The moment you engage, you give them power over your emotions. And the more you react, the more you reveal that they have control over you. Look at an eagle. When a crow attacks, it does not waste time fighting back. It does not turn around to engage in battle. Instead, it simply flies higher. It rises above the level where the crow can survive. It understands that the battle is unnecessary because the altitude alone will eliminate the enemy. In the same way, you must learn that some enemies are too small for your response. Some battles are beneath you, and the best way to defeat them is not to fight them, but to rise so high that they can no longer reach you. Reaction is proof of insecurity. People who are confident in their purpose do not waste time responding to negativity. They understand that their value is not determined by the opinions of others. This is why Jesus never defended himself against those who accused him. He remained silent in the face of false testimony. He refused to engage in pointless debates. And yet, his silence was more powerful than any argument. Because when you know who you are, you do not need to prove yourself. Many people fail in life not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they waste too much energy reacting to people who do not matter. Every time you stop to argue with someone who doubts you, you lose momentum. Every time you fight back against criticism, you delay your progress. Every time you let your emotions control your response, you weaken your focus. You cannot afford to be distracted. Your destiny is too important. Your purpose is too great. Your vision is too valuable. You must learn the power of restraint, the wisdom of silence, and the strength of self-control. There are people whose only mission is to get a reaction from you. They thrive on drama. They are fueled by conflict. They want to pull you into a battle that is not even worth fighting. But hear me, you do not need to answer them. You do not need to lower yourself to their level. Because the moment you stop reacting, you take away their power. You strip them of their influence. You silence them without even saying a word. Do not let petty people pull you into petty fights. A lion does not turn around to respond to the bark of a dog. A giant does not pause to argue with ants. And a person of purpose does not waste time fighting battles that do not lead to progress. When you truly understand who you are, you will stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand you. You will stop proving yourself to people who have already decided not to see your value. You will stop engaging in battles that only slow you down. So today I challenge you. Walk in wisdom. Move with focus. Keep your eyes on your purpose. Do not react. Do not engage. Do not be distracted, because the greatest way to defeat an enemy is to make them irrelevant. One of the most powerful truths in life is that you do not have to fight to win, you just have to succeed. The greatest revenge is not in arguments, not in retaliation, not in proving yourself right. It is in rising above every limitation, every attack, and every obstacle, until those who once opposed you have no choice but to witness your success. When you truly understand this, you will stop wasting time on battles that do not matter. You will stop trying to convince those who doubt you. You will stop defending yourself against those who misunderstand you, because success speaks louder than words. Many people spend their lives reacting to negativity. They want to answer every critic, respond to every insult, and fight back against every injustice. But listen to me. When you spend all your time fighting, you lose time for building. You cannot move forward if you are constantly looking back. You cannot rise if you are always caught in battles that drain your energy. But when you focus on your growth, your progress becomes the loudest response. Think about Joseph. His own brothers betrayed him, threw him into a pit, and sold him into slavery. He had every reason to fight back, to seek revenge, to prove himself to those who had hurt him. But instead of wasting time in anger, he focused on becoming the best version of himself. He remained faithful in every situation, developed his skills, and walked in wisdom. And in the end, his success made his enemies irrelevant. The very people who tried to destroy him had to bow before him. Why? Because he let his purpose be his focus, and his success became his revenge. When you argue with your enemies, you give them power. When you fight back, you give them attention. But when you rise, you take control. Nothing frustrates an enemy more than seeing you win despite their efforts to stop you. Nothing silences a critic more than undeniable results. You do not need to seek revenge. Your success will settle every argument. This is why you must learn to stay silent. Keep working when people doubt you. Keep building when people try to tear you down. Because every great person in history was once underestimated. Every champion was once counted out. Every leader was once rejected. But they did not waste time trying to prove themselves with words. They let their impact speak for them. Some of you have been hurt by people who tried to limit you. Maybe they said you would never succeed. Maybe they betrayed your trust. Maybe they mocked your dreams. And now you feel the need to prove them wrong. But hear me today. Your goal is not to prove people wrong. Your goal is to prove God right. He placed purpose inside of you. He gave you gifts, vision, and potential. And when you walk in that purpose, success is inevitable. Do not waste another moment worrying about what people think of you. Do not lose another night of sleep over those who try to stop you. Do not waste another drop of energy fighting unnecessary battles, because your future is too important to be delayed by small-minded people. Instead, use every attack as motivation. Use every insult as fuel to push you higher. Use every opposition as proof that you're carrying something valuable. A tree does not argue with those who doubt its growth. It simply continues to grow until its fruit becomes undeniable. Likewise, you do not need to explain yourself to those who refuse to see your value. You do not need to fight battles that will not add to your destiny. Just grow. Just rise. Just keep moving forward. And when you finally arrive at your place of success, those who once doubted you will have no choice but to see what God has done in your life. So today, I challenge you, stop fighting, stop explaining, stop reacting, let your success be your answer. Because when you rise, every enemy becomes irrelevant. There are battles in life that you were never meant to fight. There are struggles you were never meant to engage in. There are enemies you were never meant to respond to. Because the truth is, some victories do not come by fighting. They come by standing still and letting God fight for you. The greatest mistake many people make is thinking that every battle requires their effort. They think that proving their worth, defending their name, and responding to every attack will give them victory. But listen carefully. Your strength is not in fighting. Your strength is in knowing when to be still and trust the one who defends you. The Bible says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. That means victory does not always come through struggle. It comes through trust. It comes through knowing that God is your defender, your shield, and your protector. It comes through understanding that He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies, not in their absence, not after they are gone, but right in front of them. That means God does not always remove your enemies. Sometimes He blesses you while they watch. Sometimes He lets them see you rise. Sometimes He allows them to witness the very success they try to stop. Many of you are wasting your energy fighting battles that were never yours to fight. You are defending yourself against false accusations. You are arguing with people who will never understand you. You are trying to fix things that only God can handle. But hear me today. The moment you stop trying to control everything and start trusting God, He will show you that He can do more for you than you could ever do for yourself. He will silence voices that try to discredit you. He will remove obstacles that you never saw coming. He will elevate you in ways that no amount of effort could achieve. Think about David. When he stood before Goliath, he understood something powerful. The battle was not his, it was the Lord's. That is why he did not need to wear Saul's armor. He did not need to fight with traditional weapons. He knew that victory did not come from human strength, but from divine power. And because he trusted in God, one small stone was enough to bring down a giant. Some of you are carrying unnecessary weight because you are trying to fight in your own strength. But God is saying to you today, put down your weapons, step back, and let me handle it. There is a difference between fighting and standing. When you fight, you use your energy. When you stand, you use your faith. When you fight, you react to everything around you. When you stand, you trust that God is working even when you cannot see it. Some people will try to drag you into battles that do not belong to you. They will try to provoke you, insult you, and make you feel like you must defend yourself. But wisdom says, do not waste your strength on unnecessary battles. Save your energy for your purpose. Not every attack needs your response. Not every critic needs your attention. Not every obstacle needs your effort. Sometimes your greatest weapon is silence. Your greatest strength is patience. Your greatest strategy is knowing when to step aside and let God do what only He can do. Because when you fight in your own strength, you may win small battles, but when God fights for you, He wins the war. Some of you have been struggling with people who have wronged you. Maybe they betrayed you, lied about you, or tried to destroy your reputation. And everything inside of you wants to fight back. But hear me, you do not need to fight for justice when you serve a God who is just. You do not need to seek revenge when you serve a God who repays. You do not need to defend yourself when you serve a God who vindicates. The best thing you can do is stand still, stay focused, and watch how God turns your situation around. You may not see it now, but God is working behind the scenes. He is aligning things in your favor. He is shifting things in the spiritual realm. He is positioning you for something greater than you can imagine. And when the time is right, He will show you that your enemies were never in control. He was. He will prepare a table for you while they watch. He will bless you in ways they never expected. And in the end, it will not be your strength, your arguments, or your fight that brings victory. It will be God's hand over your life. So today, I challenge you, stop fighting, stop reacting, stop trying to handle things in your own strength. Stand still, trust God, and let Him fight for you. Because when He defends you, no enemy can stand against you. One of the greatest challenges in life is learning how to protect your focus. Distractions come in many forms. People, circumstances, criticism, and even your own emotions. But listen carefully. Your destiny is too important to be delayed by unnecessary battles. Your purpose is too great to be sidetracked by things that do not add value to your life. If you are going to fulfill your assignment, you must learn to ignore what is not aligned with your purpose. The reason many people fail is not because they lack talent or opportunity. It is because they waste too much time on things that do not matter. They spend their energy responding to critics. They waste their emotions reacting to negativity. They allow small battles to pull them away from the greater mission. But hear me today. You cannot afford to be distracted. The moment you turn your attention to things that do not align with your purpose, you slow down your own progress. You were not called to fight every battle. You were called to win the war of destiny. Look at Nehemiah. He was building the wall, fulfilling his assignment and making progress. But his enemies, Sanballat and Tobiah, tried to stop him. They sent messages, they spread lies, and they tried to distract him. But what did Nehemiah do? He refused to come down. He said, I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. That is the mindset of a person who understands their purpose. When you know what you are building, you do not stop to argue with people who have no vision. When you know where you are going, you do not get caught up in distractions that do not move you forward. Some of you are frustrated because you have been giving attention to things that do not deserve your time. You have been engaging in arguments that do not build you. You have been reacting to negativity instead of focusing on growth. But listen to me. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on what does not produce results. Every time you stop to respond to negativity, you lose momentum. Every time you engage with distractions, you delay your own progress. You must learn to guard your focus, protect your peace, and stay committed to your vision. The enemy does not have to destroy you. He just has to distract you. Because when you are distracted, you become ineffective. When you are distracted, you start wasting time on things that do not push you forward. When you are distracted, you stop moving in the direction of your purpose. That is why you must learn how to say no to what does not align with your destiny. Say no to meaningless debates. Say no to unnecessary conflicts. Say no to people who try to pull you into battles that do not concern you. Because every minute spent on distraction is a minute stolen from your destiny. Even Jesus understood the power of focus. When the Pharisees tried to trap him with their questions, he did not waste time debating with them. When people misunderstood him, he did not spend energy trying to explain himself. Why? Because he was too focused on his mission. He knew that he had an assignment to fulfill, and he refused to be pulled into anything that did not contribute to that assignment. Some of you need to learn this lesson. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every comment needs a response. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every enemy is worth engaging. Stay focused on your purpose and let your success be your response. Many of you have dreams, goals, and visions. But the reason you have not yet achieved them is not because you lack ability, it is because you have been too distracted. You have allowed the wrong things to steal your time. You have engaged in battles that are beneath you. You have wasted energy on proving yourself to people who do not matter. But today, I am here to tell you, it is time to refocus. It is time to redirect your energy toward what truly matters. It is time to stop coming down from your place of purpose just to entertain distractions. Ask yourself, is this battle worth my time? Does this argument build me? Does this conversation align with my purpose? If the answer is no, then let it go. Keep building, keep growing, keep moving forward. Because when you reach your destination, everything that once tried to distract you will become irrelevant. So today, I challenge you, stop reacting, stop explaining, stop engaging in things that do not serve your destiny. Focus on your purpose and let everything else fade into the background. Because when you stay focused, nothing can stop your progress. One of the greatest strategies for overcoming your enemies is to rise above them by improving yourself. You do not need to fight battles when you can outgrow them. You do not need to engage in conflict when you can develop beyond the level where your enemies exist. Because hear me today, your greatest weapon is not your words, not your arguments, not your defense, but your own personal growth. When you focus on becoming better, stronger, and wiser, everything that once opposed you will become irrelevant. Many people spend their lives trying to change others. They want to convince their critics, win over their enemies, and prove their worth to those who doubt them. But listen carefully. You do not need to change your enemies. You need to change yourself. The moment you commit to personal growth, everything around you shifts. The problems that once frustrated you no longer affect you. The attacks that once distracted you no longer matter. The enemies that once challenged you can no longer reach you. Why? Because when you grow, you naturally leave behind what no longer serves you. Think about a child who is constantly being bullied on the playground. That child may try to fight back, argue, or prove themselves, but as they grow older, they realize something powerful. The best way to overcome the bullies is not to engage with them, but to move beyond them. When they grow in wisdom, confidence, and maturity, they no longer operate at the same level as their enemies. The moment they stop reacting and start focusing on becoming better, the battle loses its power over them. Some of you are stuck in cycles of conflict because you are still at the same level where your enemies exist. You are still engaging in the same arguments, responding to the same negativity, and reacting to the same criticisms. But the moment you elevate yourself, you leave behind the battles that once held you back. You must make a decision. Will you keep fighting unnecessary wars, or will you rise above them by growing beyond them? Growth is your greatest revenge. When people doubt you, grow in wisdom until your success silences them. When people try to limit you, grow in excellence until they can no longer ignore you. When people try to hold you back, grow in skill and knowledge until they have no power over your progress. Because the truth is, you do not need to fight for recognition. You need to become so valuable that they have no choice but to acknowledge your impact. Look at David. When he was anointed as king, he did not immediately take the throne. He went through a process of growth, development, and preparation. And even when King Saul became his enemy, David did not waste time fighting him. He did not try to prove himself, justify himself, or defend himself. Instead, he focused on growing in wisdom, skill, and favor with God. And in the right time, Saul became irrelevant, and David took his rightful place. Because destiny is never given to those who fight, it is given to those who grow into it. The reason many people never rise above their enemies is that they are too focused on reacting instead of evolving. They allow small-minded people to pull them into small battles. They waste energy proving themselves instead of improving themselves. But hear me today. Your purpose is too great to be delayed by petty conflicts. Your destiny is too important to be limited by unnecessary distractions. You must make a decision to elevate your thinking, expand your capacity, and refine your character. Because the moment you grow, your enemies will no longer be a threat. Some of you are still dealing with the same opposition because you have not yet outgrown it. You are still entertaining the same arguments because you have not yet matured beyond them. But today, I challenge you, make a decision to grow. Grow in wisdom. Grow in discipline, grow in focus, because when you grow, you shift the battle. When you grow, you take control. When you grow, you rise above every attack. A seed does not fight the soil, it simply grows until it breaks through. A tree does not argue with weeds, it simply rises above them. And a person of purpose does not engage with their enemies. They simply become so successful that their enemies are left speechless. So today I challenge you, stop fighting, stop reacting, stop engaging in unnecessary battles. Focus on your growth and watch how your enemies become irrelevant. Because when you elevate yourself, nothing can hold you back. One of the greatest weapons you have in life is wisdom. Wisdom teaches you when to speak and when to be silent. It shows you when to engage and when to walk away. It helps you understand that not every battle requires your response and not every attack deserves your attention. The greatest victories are not always won through force or argument, but through strategic silence and well-timed action. Many people believe that strength is about fighting, proving themselves, or responding to every challenge. But true strength is found in wisdom. It is found in knowing that silence is sometimes louder than words, and that patience is sometimes more powerful than immediate action. When you allow wisdom to guide you, you will stop wasting time on things that do not align with your purpose. You will stop reacting emotionally to every insult or criticism. Instead, you will move with discernment, knowing that a well-planned step is more effective than 1,000 arguments. Look at Jesus. He was often challenged, questioned, and even mocked by his enemies. The Pharisees tried to trap him with words. They wanted to provoke him into reacting, into defending himself, into justifying his actions. But what did he do? Many times he remained silent. He did not allow their words to control his response. He did not allow their negativity to pull him into unnecessary battles. He understood that wisdom is more powerful than debate. And when he did speak, his words carried so much authority that they silenced his enemies. Some of you are engaging in conflicts that are draining your energy because you have not yet learned to operate with wisdom. You are trying to explain yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. You are fighting battles that could be avoided with a simple shift in strategy. But hear me today, wisdom will always give you the upper hand. When you use wisdom, you do not react, you respond. You do not fight, you position yourself. You do not waste time, you move with precision. Think about David before he became king. He was anointed, chosen, and destined for greatness. But Saul, out of jealousy, pursued him, tried to kill him, and treated him as an enemy. David had many opportunities to fight back, to retaliate, to take revenge. But what did he do? He used wisdom. He understood that his destiny was too great to be destroyed by a foolish decision. He knew that some victories are not won through force, but through restraint. And because he allowed wisdom to guide him, he ended up on the throne, while his enemy fell on his own. Some of you are wasting your energy trying to prove yourself to people who will never see your worth. You are exhausting yourself trying to defend your name when your results will speak for themselves in due time. But listen carefully. Wisdom teaches you to conserve your energy for what truly matters. It teaches you that not every comment needs a reply, not every insult needs a defense, and not every attack needs a reaction. Sometimes the best way to win is to move in silence and let your success do the talking. Many people fail in life not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they lack wisdom. They allow emotions to drive their decisions. They react to every challenge instead of strategically positioning themselves for victory. But hear me today, wisdom is a weapon. When you walk in wisdom, your enemies cannot predict your moves. They cannot manipulate your emotions. They cannot pull you into battles that do not serve your purpose. Because when you use wisdom, you stay ahead. The enemy does not fear your arguments. He fears your discipline. He does not fear your emotions. He fears your strategy. That is why the Bible says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. Because wisdom will teach you how to navigate through challenges without being consumed by them. Wisdom will show you how to remain calm when others are losing control. Wisdom will help you see beyond the present moment and position yourself for greater victories. Some of you need to stop fighting and start thinking. You need to stop reacting and start planning. You need to stop explaining and start executing. Because when you operate in wisdom, you will find that many battles are unnecessary. You will realize that some enemies are not meant to be fought. They are meant to be outmaneuvered. Some conflicts do not require your voice. They require your silence. Some attacks do not need your defense. They need your patience. A lion does not respond to every barking dog. A king does not argue with every critic. And a person of destiny does not engage in battles that do not align with their purpose. Instead, they use wisdom to position themselves for the victory that is already theirs. So today I challenge you, stop reacting, stop explaining, stop engaging in unnecessary battles. Let wisdom be your strategy and let your success be your response. Because when you move with wisdom, nothing can stop you. One of the greatest lessons you will ever learn is that your response to adversity determines your destiny. Life will always bring challenges. People will misunderstand you, betray you, and even oppose you. But listen carefully. How you handle opposition will determine how high you rise. Many people fail in life, not because they lack opportunity or talent, but because they allow the wrong responses to limit their progress. They allow bitterness to consume them. They allow revenge to control them. But hear me today. You do not overcome enemies by fighting them. You overcome them by succeeding in spite of them. The greatest way to destroy your enemy is not by attacking them, but by living in such a way that their efforts against you become useless. When people expect you to fail, the best response is to succeed. When people try to bring you down, the best response is to rise higher. When people try to distract you, the best response is to stay focused. Your victory is not in retaliation. Your victory is in proving that their attacks had no power over you. Look at Joseph. He was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely accused. If anyone had a reason to be bitter, it was Joseph. If anyone had a reason to seek revenge, it was him. But what did he do? He remained faithful, kept his integrity, and continued to grow. He did not waste time plotting revenge. He focused on becoming the best version of himself, and because of that, he rose to a position of power where the same brothers who betrayed him had to come to him for help. His success became his response. His elevation became his victory. His destiny was not delayed because of his enemies. It was fulfilled in spite of them. Many of you have been hurt. People have lied about you, mistreated you, and tried to stop you. And you feel like you need to fight back to prove yourself, to make them see the truth. But listen to me. You do not need to waste time fighting battles that God has already won for you. Your best response is to keep moving forward. Your best strategy is to keep growing. Because when you rise above the attacks, when you continue to thrive despite the opposition, you make it clear that your enemies never had the power to stop you in the first place. The enemy's greatest desire is to distract you from your destiny. If he cannot stop you, he will try to delay you. If he cannot destroy you, he will try to discourage you. But you must make up your mind that nothing will pull you away from your purpose. You must decide that you will not allow anger, frustration, or resentment to keep you from moving forward. Because the moment you stop progressing to focus on fighting, you have already given your enemy the victory. There is a reason why Jesus taught us to love our enemies. There is a reason why he told us to pray for those who persecute us. It is not because they deserve it. It is because we cannot afford to let them control our emotions. When you hold on to anger, you are giving your enemy a place in your mind. When you seek revenge, you are allowing them to dictate your actions. But when you release them, when you refuse to let their actions define you, you take back your power. Some of you have been carrying pain from what people did to you years ago. You have allowed their words to shape your self-esteem. You have allowed their actions to influence your decisions. But today I challenge you, let it go. Do not let your enemy control another moment of your life. Do not let bitterness rob you of your joy. Do not let anger keep you from moving forward, because hear me, you cannot heal while still holding on to what hurt you. You cannot step into your future while still dragging the weight of your past. You must release it, forgive, and move forward. Success is your best revenge. When people think you cannot make it, prove them wrong by becoming everything God created you to be. When people expect you to crumble, prove them wrong by standing stronger than ever. When people try to stop you, prove them wrong by rising higher than they ever imagined. Because at the end of the day, it is not your words that will silence your enemies. It is your progress. Stop wasting time worrying about who is against you and start focusing on who is for you. Stop trying to change people's minds and start working on changing your own life. Stop looking back at what they did and start looking forward to what God is about to do. Because when you walk in your purpose, when you focus on your destiny, when you refuse to let anything hold you back, nothing can stop you. So today, I challenge you, stop looking for revenge. Stop waiting for apologies. Stop carrying unnecessary burdens. Move forward, grow, succeed, and let your progress speak for itself. Because when you fulfill your destiny, no enemy can deny what God has done in your life. My friends, life is too short to waste on battles that do not matter. Your purpose is too great to be delayed by distractions. The greatest victories are not won by fighting every enemy, but by outgrowing them, outlasting them, and outshining them. You do not need to engage in every conflict. Let wisdom guide your steps. You do not need to prove yourself to anyone. Let your success be your response. You do not need to seek revenge. Let your progress speak for itself. If you stay focused, if you remain committed to your growth, if you refuse to be distracted by negativity, then nothing and no one can stop you from reaching your destiny. Rise above the noise, ignore the unnecessary battles, and keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, it is not about who is against you. It is about whether you fulfilled your purpose despite them. So, as you go forward, choose wisdom over reaction. Choose growth over conflict. Choose destiny over distraction. And when you do, you will see that your greatest victory was never in fighting. It was in becoming everything you were created to be. Good luck on your journey. Stay focused, stay strong, and may success follow you all the days of your life. Thank you.